Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about my League Start experience, first Blighted maps experience, Blight-Ravaged maps experience 3.25, and well, summarizing first days of the league for me, right? So, as you probably know, I started as Poison Cremation, and my campaign was quite quick. I completed it in 6.5 hours, including like the oak bug that was crashing my game every time I approached him and pressed kill oak. It was instance crash, game crash. I tried this quite a good few times to maybe figure out what's going on, maybe find a way to kill him, but I ended up helping him instead and then re-rolling my bandits with regret orbs. So that was quite a waste of time. So I think that the fair time of clear would be 6 hours for me, if not that. And I find this quite a good time for myself. Well, I'm still learning, so that's it. With my first Blighted map, I had 2 Amber Oils found in campaign because I was completing every Cassia encounter I found. I think it starts in Act 3, and then you have 8% chance to spawn Cassia at random. So it's, well, I'd say there were 3 or 4 encounters for me, so that's very good because you can start your first Blighted map with Amber Oils, and that allows you to complete higher tier map. However, I was level 62 doing tier 10 map, and that way you are not gaining experience because experience gain is capped. So you need to stay, I believe, in range of 4 levels. So 4 levels below the area level. So at level 62, you really want to do maximum level 66 area. I'm not sure which tier map is that, whether it's 1, 2 or 3, but doing level 10 right away gave me enough oils to buy lower tier maps, oil them, anoint my rings, so just have a better time, right? So maybe it's not that bad idea to do a higher tier map early on, get some loot, get some currency, because with level 1, 2, 3 you will get much less currency. So that's it, right? Then you just keep playing Amber Verdant. Verdant oil is really great because it gives you so much experience that you level up much faster, especially if you are in those 4 levels, range from the area level. Then you really level up very fast. And according to my Excellence CE, it was around 2-3 divines per hour that time. So Amber is not the end of the world. However, Triple Crimson gives you like 3-4 divines per hour. So that's a bit better. You have a chance to drop Divine Orb, although I have not dropped a single Divine Orb while doing normal Blighted maps. I completed around 40 maps, which I find very unlucky. So that was it. Then I found some Ravaged maps. I tried blasting my Ravaged maps with level 82. Then 85. I wasted some resources doing that. So I really recommend starting Ravaged maps at level 88. I was testing Ravaged maps at 85-3. However, my character was leveled up to 96. So if there is really any hidden calculation that checks if your level is outside of this +4 -4 area range, and you have some penalties to damage dealt, damage taken, because I was being one-shot, and then when I leveled up to 88, I was not one-shot anymore. So I'm not sure what's going on, but I think I had 99% spell suppression, so maybe that was the reason, but I'm not sure. So it's really hard to tell, but after level 88, the content became easier when I had my build ready and stuff, and with leveling with Verdant oil, I leveled up quite quickly, so I had higher level than wealth. So actually, maybe if you dropped something pretty precious and you had a lot of currency to upgrade your gear, maybe you could do below level 88. But for me, getting level 88 was very simple because this build with Petrified Blood is quite tanky. So I was not dying that much. I just, only when I was doing Ravaged maps. So on Blighted maps, I was basically, staying alive and leveling very fast. So that was my first 2 days, right? On Monday, I started doing Ravaged maps at 88. And well, then we go to a strategy. So I was using like golden oil strategy. I barely made, you know, money to start the next run, and unfortunately golden oil strat early on was not that good, because golden oil was like 60-70 C and divine orb was like 120, so it was around half a div per golden oil, and we don't get really that good drop. And most profit early on comes from, like, you know, jewelry, like my stash tabs, right? Like rings, like you know, those searching guide jewels or ghastly eye, so abyss jewels, and yeah, and flasks, right? So I have a stash full of flasks. They sell very well at 20, at 30, at 40 C. So when I roll them, I put them at 40, then I lower to 30, then I roll them or put them to 20 and then roll them again. So it's a constant process, and I made a lot of divines thanks to flasks, thanks to those jewels, and yeah, not so much thanks to currency drops, but we'll talk about this in a second. So like I said, the golden oil. So there are two reasons why golden oil might be not perfect for your first Ravaged maps. First is that when you just start, when you are level 88, you probably try to low roll your maps, right? So you have mods that are harder, like monsters have chaos rest. Probably you roll over that because you don't want to lose your golden oil and 1.5 div investment because of bad mod. If you can reroll it, we are not running Twist of Fate, so we have this comfort to do that. And this way you might choose like 40% instead of 55% increased rarity map, right? And 55% increased rarity map works much better with golden oils. This means that, you know, by reducing the risk, you also reduce the rewards. So I think it's not that good idea to start with golden oil strats. It's hard to sustain. It's not that profitable. It drops a lot of jewelry and the rings and stuff, and, you know, abyss jewels and flasks. But I think that this strategy or any variation of it, right? Because it's not really better than from my tests like this. So I've been trying to play around this, and it's close. It's almost the same. So pick whatever you want. Yeah, silver oil feels strong, but I could not see, like, you know, day and night difference between those two. So this was previously what I tested the most optimal on larger sample, and we did not have any tests yet on large sample between those two. So it's really hard to tell. I think I will spend more time now having this knowledge that golden oil is not really, you know, what we really want. Day 1, day 2, day 3, even now, day 5. I think it's still whatever. So maybe you get a bit more at higher investment cost and higher risk of losing map. If you lose map with golden oil, it's, you know, bigger hit than losing map with, I don't know, 2 silver oils. So this is one of the reasons you might not want to do golden oil strats even now. But yeah, but for day 1 and day 1, day 2, day 3, I think golden oil is out of scope. Not at this price, not with this, let's say, loot, right? So I think blighted maps and ravaged maps are very popular this league. Might be actually the most popular state, or the most popular, the content is most popular across, you know, at least 5 last leagues. I haven't seen that high price of maps in recent history. So every league start it was cheaper, I think. So there is something going on. I'm not sure why, but maybe about that later. And yeah, so I have some runs. You can check it in my spreadsheet. I will link it in the description. It's actually bullshit from previous league. And I've put time 6.5 minutes because I pick up jewelry, but this should be around 6. No issue with that. The build clears maps very fast, no delays at all. So the original clear time is 6. If you really want to flex with your friends, you can say, oh, I'm making like 12 divines per hour, but I really don't want to bait people, so let's keep it 6.5. That's fair for the beginning. So you can see that the profit varies a lot. So we can drop as much as 500 C, and it happened to me quite a few times, but you can drop as low as 200 C, which is barely covering the map cost. And that makes this strat not that good early on. The biggest advantage of golden oil strat is that it produces more tier 1 rewards. So more golden oils, more divine orbs, more stack decks, even though they are not tier 1, but golden oil doubles the rewards. So you get way more stack decks with 1 golden oil, even more with 2 golden oils. So early on, with high ratio of golden oil to divine orb and very cheap stack decks, this is not sustainable. I mean, it is, however, it's not really better than, like I mentioned, like silver oil strats, or you can see only 2 runs here, but overall it's basically the same. It's somewhere between 10 and 12 divines, right? With just 3-4 runs, you can't really see the real average, because the spread is too big, right? So you can drop as much as 500C, you can drop as low as 200C. So what's the average? 300, 400, 350, 280? You don't know. I started already doing my 10 map runs. However, yesterday I spent a whole day trying to figure out the build for you, so that you have any path of upgrade. So I have not played that much Ravaged maps. So I played like 20 maps yesterday. I have documented this. I tried to compare the rarity chisel, so maybe about that. So yeah, we have a new chisel. However, I did not see it being like especially working, so I'm not sure if that works at all. It might be that chisels are just a minor thing for Ravaged maps, and this doesn't work at all. Which means that, I don't know, I need to test it more, but that was disappointing. This run was disappointing. Maybe the rarity chisel works better with golden oil strat, but that doesn't make sense. So what the rarity chisel do is that instead of getting 20% of increased quantity, we get 60% of item rarity, which basically doubles our rarity. However, the impact is quite minor. I played few golden oil maps. Well, I dropped the divine here and divine there, but you also do that with normal chisels. So it's not like you instantly spot, oh, this, holy shit, this is OP. This makes Ravaged maps much better. I don't have this feeling. So my take is that it might actually not work at all on chest loot, right? That is sad. I mean, all changes in 3.25 are disappointing, and this is one of them. So yeah, so that's my take. I think using normal chisel is the way to go. It's before I have some more data on bigger sample and I know for sure, I would just keep doing that, because if anything works, that's the quantity, because it's literally mentioned on the map that the map item quantity modifiers also affect Blight chest at 50% value. So we have that information here. We have nothing about rarity. That was my theory, that rarity works. It's because when you apply silver oil, like you have high rolled map, like 8 mod map, and you use 2 silver oils, you still get shit ton of loot with, 80% less quantity, right? So if you skip 1 silver oil, you still get shit ton of loot if your map is well rolled. But if you use triple silver oil and your map is like, I don't know, what's the low roll? 27? Let's try 42. Oh, sorry. I need to do that. 33. Yeah, that's not even that bad, but it can go lower. Like I don't know, you have, now I'm rolling good maps, but yeah, trust me, so you can go down to like 27, 26. So I think this is quite terrible, and the loot is terrible there. You won't drop divine orbs, you won't drop at all. That was my take, that rarity actually adds something, right? So with this chisel, I'm not sure, it doesn't work. At least it doesn't, make maps twice as good. It's not a miracle, and I would just stay with normal chisels, right? So also maps are quite expensive this league. That if maps are 30C, then you pay 300 chaos per 10 maps, and if maps are like 10C, you pay 100. So that's 200C per 10 maps overall cost, regardless whether you run golden oil strat or silver oil strat. Normally, if maps are very expensive, golden oil strat should be better, because we get way more loot, so it scales better. The map cost is less of a total cost than with non-golden oil strats, which, as you can figure out, gives you better return on investment. However, like I said, because of cheap divine orbs, cheap stack decks, it's not yet meta. But I'm pretty hopeful it will be soon. So when the economy stabilizes, and my take is that golden oil strat will be the go-to strategy, and this can happen on two ways: either this goes up or this goes down. Yep. So yeah, monitor this spreadsheet. I will be putting more runs here. Just pay attention to what's going on. This was quite a good run, 13 divines. This was much worse, 9 divines. So like I said, it's anywhere between 10 and 12 divines right now. Maybe this is because chisels. We did not have chisels. It went below 10 divines. Maybe it was just bad luck, poor session, or whatever. All right. Now let's talk about the build itself. So my experience with Poison Crema is that it's quite cheap. I was able to do Ravaged maps on my day, let's say 2/3, so Monday morning. So I haven't played on Saturday. I finished my campaign actually on Saturday morning, right? So I started on Friday. I played like 2 hours in the morning. I finished campaign. I had to stop for the rest of the day. I resumed on Sunday, where I started Blighted maps, and I had 1 day of playing, and then I was doing Ravaged maps. So maybe I could do this faster, if not my mistakes, like trying to force it and stuff. And I actually did some mistakes with my build, because I couldn't roll 2 blue and 3 green slots on my 5-link, so I used Cruelty instead of Unbound Ailments, and that was a huge mistake, because this support gem is really crucial. So I burned some Ravaged maps. Possibly if I had the right colors on my lightning coil earlier, I would be slamming Ravaged maps on Sunday evening, but I had to. Maybe I was tired, I don't know. I drank some vodka on Saturday. I was not really fresh on Sunday, so that was it. And that's my take. So the build is really great at starting. It's fast to get to Ravaged maps. It can deal with self-rolled 40% plus rarity pretty well. So if you can check mods, oh yeah, this is easy. It's just reduce effect of my auras. That's fine. That's something we can take. Then you have this is also fine. This is low roll, and especially if you wanna clear 35% maps, that's doable day one, totally fine. Maybe map like this with 38% rarity, and that also increases pack sizes, right? That can be challenging early on, but still doable, right? So it's all based on reading mods, understanding what you can do. If you don't have enough resistances or like this, and you get minus 12% to max res, that's not good for day one. At 31% rarity, that's totally okay, but some layouts will make your monsters spawn very close to the pump. So this build really likes being away from all the mobs. So what you do, you just press Desecrate from a distance, you press Cremation, and you move away. You don't stand and watch. You don't get close to monsters. You try to keep distance, because staying close to a lot of monsters with high juice, especially with high rolled maps, high pack size, and high mob density, the chances you will die, because you need to spam your flask, and sometimes you run out of charges if you are staying too long without killing any monsters, or you get stunned. So the only reason why you want to get close to the monsters is proximity shield, because you need to break it somehow. So you can either build Arc Tower, which is this Lightning Tower level 4. This is really great for breaking proximity shields, or just jump into proximity shield, cast Cremation inside, and move out. That's gonna work. So That's how I break it, and of course apply curses with Bane, and yeah, and that's it. So yeah, again, we do very well if we can pick mods. We don't do well against this mod. This is a brick. If you roll this on Twist of Fate, you're not gonna have good time because our damage is delayed. We get too much hits, so monsters get close to you. You need to face tank them. This build doesn't really support face tanking, and so yeah, so that's a brick. I'm not sure what needs to be done to actually make this mod, especially on 8 mod, because that's what we're gonna face at Twist of Fate maps. 8 mod monster speed cannot be reduced. You have huge pack size. You have other mods like minus max rest and stuff. Monster speed is increased. If you're not gonna do that, you lose 1.5 divine. So basically that invalidates Twist of Fate completely, because you're better off, you know, rolling your maps yourself, picking up mods, rather than bricking your golden oil maps. That's if we cannot do that, Twist of Fate is out of scope, unfortunately. Avoid elements. This is better because it holds monsters for longer with enough DPS with 6 link. That's doable, but with Twist of Fate and some other mods like increased monster speed and increased chaos resistance or whatever, it can be hard because something can cap your DPS. Other mods can, you know, make monsters like, I don't know, 2 additional projectiles or something. So this can go into some combinations that can make very hard map. But overall, it's doable. If I rolled my map and I've seen this mod and I know that other mods do not really make my life harder, I could go with it if it's high roll, and I don't want to lose the high roll, right? Then ES region at 60%. So actually, players cannot modify. Players cannot regenerate mana or energy shield. Does nothing against our build, but there is this mod, energy shield regeneration is at 60%. Not sure if I can roll it at will. But anyway, yeah, there is this mod. You need to trust me. So if you spot it, you'd better reroll it, because yeah, so this mod is fine. So what the mod does is that when you keep casting your Desecrate and Cremation, your energy shield, which is essentially your mana, does not regenerate fast enough. So what you need to do, it's doable, but you need to manage your spells. Overall, you should not be playing piano. You should not be playing like this is not old Cremation. You do not spam Desecrate. You don't need to cast this, because once you apply poison, everything will die. So with this mod, it's very, very important that you only press 3 buttons. So you cast Desecrate, press Cremation, you press Bane or not. If the packs, if you have Stunlock Crossroad and you have like, I don't know, 200 mobs in one spot, don't press Bane. Don't press Bane. It will crash your instance. You don't need to do that. You don't need those curses to blow 200 mobs. You only kill one mob. This mob kills a bigger mob. The bigger mob kills bigger mob and other mobs, and boss die. If boss dies, everything else dies. And you only need 3 buttons or 2 buttons if the pack size is too big. If you have like closed layout, then just 2 buttons. Bane. Bane is when everything dies and the boss remains. So boss has a poison applied from corpse explosions. Right, the cremation is still going. You see a boss around a few mobs or even alone, then you apply Bane and you leave. It doesn't matter. You don't need to watch it. That's the gameplay here. So if you see my videos, what's the playstyle? You go from one lane, you pop cremation, you move somewhere else, build towers, pop up cremation, move somewhere else, build towers. Try to maintain distance from pump. It's challenging when monsters spawn too close to your pump, because you will be getting damage. You will have to press your life flask quite often. That's the only problem with this build. But I will tell you a few tricks I've done to make it better soon, right? So the last mod is minus max res. Yeah, this is a big hit for our build. Well, we are based on max res higher than 75. 75. And yeah, -9, -12 is really dangerous for us, especially if there are other mods like 2 more projectiles, increased damage, or whatever that makes monsters to one-hit you, right? So it's challenging. And yeah, what I've done with my build. So I was following my guide, my original guide. However, not precisely, and that I think that could have been a mistake because I've done a few things differently. Anyway, I managed to get there to just blast Ravaged maps without failures, but I was trying to figure out how to do monster speed cannot be reduced and stuff, right? So I started playing with my build. I spent a lot of time yesterday figuring out what else can we do. So I'm not sure if I have listed this. Right, so first thing, I replaced Purity of Elements. That required me to change my items, rare items, to cap my resistances. I still keep boots, I don't know why. Maybe it would be easier just to replace them. I'm not sure if we really, but maybe the extra crit damage from poison enemies is better. We could potentially, I think, get it here. So if you skip boots to cap your resistances, then take Poison Mastery, right? This will ensure that you're not that. Maybe we should actually do this. Maybe I should test it. Maybe that gives us more defenses and then swap boots. So with boots, we could possibly get more spell suppression on boots. That would free up our helmet. That would free up our gloves. That's one thing to consider. I will be playing with my build further to trying to figure out best combination, right? So please have in mind this is a new build, it's not optimized. I only cared about first 3 days to get you to Ravaged maps, make currency, then you can reroll to other build. And meanwhile, I will be trying to figure out whether this build is actually something we want to play next league, or I'm gonna play something else next league if this build is disappointing. So just have that in mind. So many things are quite, let's say, not set in stone. And I'm not sure what's really best in slot, what's the best way combination of evolving this, right? So all tricks are, let's say, free to go with. If you figure out something yourself, just go with it. If you think that's a good idea and it works for you, share it with us. Maybe you figured out something really nice. Apart from that, I have not changed much. So first thing is replacing Purity of Elements for Grace. We have now 60% evade chance. In 3.24 it was 70. So that was Grace nerf. It gave you like basic evasion. However, it's not as much as in 3.24. That's huge nerf for us because I can see huge difference between having 60% evasion and without Grace 30% evasion. So it's day and night difference. Because you don't need to spam your flasks, you can stay much closer to mobs, you can enter proximity shields, you still can't face tank big bosses, but yeah, that's not really needed with my second change. So that's it, and because the build has delayed damage, right? So you know what I mean, like you have a magic mobs leaking, you press Desecrate, you press your Cremation, you press your Bane, and the monsters don't die. They just start slowly getting damage. It takes 3 seconds. And if you have monsters have increased speed mod on your map, that's sometimes not enough. You try to, stop them with Glacial Cage. If that fails, you just lose life on your pump. And if you lose life on your pump and then, you run on like 6 or 7 life, well, it's possibly you're gonna lose them up. So to solve this problem, I have changed my skills. So it's currently wearing Plague Bearer with increased area of effect. So maybe I can pick them up to show you how big it is. Oh, I need to identify this. So I will show you how big AoE that is. I just need some... Yeah. So with increased area of effect, it's quite big. So you protect your pump with your life, and we get so much poison damage we basically stack this to full in matter of, you know, fraction of a second, and it deals a lot of damage. At least it deals with all the magic monsters leaking perfectly. So you don't even need to cast Cremation. All you do is you press your button and you walk into those mobs. They die. That's really great, because we have so much chaos damage, and damage over time increases in our build. It's just working out of the box, right? You don't need to, you know, do a lot. So I think this is really good idea, because Plague Bearer gives you more upfront damage. So Poison deals a lot of damage, but it takes time for it to, you know, to explode monsters. While Plague Bearer is at max stacks is high DPS right away, so it's instant damage. It's something this build missed. So I think this is really good for our build, right? Another thing I've done is I made my, where's my Desecrate? So I made my Desecrate level 25, which caps my corpses at 85. This is again to boost your initial damage, to boost your damage with Cremation before the corpses explode, right? When the corpses explode and they play Poison, everything dies. That's simple. But the problem is how to make your first corpse to explode, and, you know, giving more levels to Desecrate works well. So how did I do it? You can do it multiple ways. You can have like +2 AoE levels on your gloves. You can have, I bought my helmet for 50C with resistances, life, increased area of effect, and AoE gems, right? I even have spell suppression on my helmet. But like I said, if you go for where are the boots? Atzir boots. If you go for the boots, it gives you 23% of spell suppression. That's your gloves and helmet. You get movement speed, you get evasion, and that might be even better than the corpse walks. So I will be testing this. However, I could maybe free up my tree for more cluster jewels. So we get 4 points from here, and we can get more DPS from here. Actually, we don't need those nodes. I'm gonna unallocate this and put more points into cluster jewels. So build is still evolving, as you can see. I not have put the last dot. I have not gave up on it yet, but there are a few things you can do, right? So just have this in mind. +2 helmet for your max Desecrate, maybe a serious step if you struggle with, if you can't find a good helmet for you, if you can't find good gloves for you at budget, maybe try with a serious steps. Make sure to get the Poison Mastery so you don't get extra damage from crits. And get your Desecrate at level 25 to have 85 level corpses. That should help. So yeah, like I said, I still have not figured out how to do all mods with this build at any budget. So I don't have like really strong upgrades. I've changed a few things in my build. So this was in the free version, right? The Red Dream. This is really great. 10% fire damage as extra chaos damage. We get endurance charges, which give us additional elemental resistances. That's effective resistances, right? So that works a bit differently than max res, but overall 1%, one endurance charge equals to 1% of max res. That's what I read on Reddit. Somebody counted it. So let's trust this. I use those nodes. They are pretty strong, 10% LRS, and yeah, without Purity of Elements, I need those nodes. So that's 2 points. Maybe with more cluster jewels and more jewels, I could save those 2 points, move them there. You need to cap strength. I'm now pretty, I think I'm fine with, no, I need 3 more strength. That's doable, no worries. So yeah, for strength, maybe we can do without it. For resistances, I still need it somewhere else. I have my belt, so that's Stygian wise. That always gives you a chance to, you know, cap some resist, cap some strength. I have increased dot. It's not best in slot. This is also not best in slot. We should have like flask effect chargers for our sulfur flask, for our, you know, max res flasks. So and our life flask. So there are a few things we can do. The Watcher's Eye, I think I have a pretty good one with damage over time. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, I must say. I paid 3 divines for that. It's gonna go up. I have really nice corrupted mode on that. According to Pop, it gives me at least a bit, like 1% of DPS, so why not? Other modes, so if you keep Vitality on your build, because now I had to get rid of my auras, but I have 4 auras now, but I still get to keep Vitality or whatever you choose. So there is this mode when you can, regenerate life with Vitality, or you get life on hit. I think it's like 20 life on hit. I'm not sure how that works in combination with Malevolence, but the Watcher's Eye was 10 divine. I have not bought it yet, but I wonder how that works. If that gives us a lot of, I don't know, HP regen and makes us, sustain better. So that's one thing. Then you can also save some nodes from here by allocating Anathema, although we are really occultists. So that's the big question. Whether do we really need occultist? Because yeah, occultist gives us few benefits early on, but later, yeah, the curses, additional curses, we can have with Anathema. It's really great ring. We can have it, yeah. So why not? It's on Pathfinder. It's gonna work. Chaos Res, I think we can keep either way. Explosions, yeah, we have Cremation of Excuming, so it's not that important. It's different because this one is stronger for sure and higher chance for sure, so it's more reliable, but I'm not sure, maybe we don't need it. So that's the cost of running Occultist, that we don't have enough life. Our life flask is weaker, our cast damage is weaker, but overall, I'm not complaining about DPS because we are really strong with this build. And the only thing missing is, like, I don't know, utility. So our cast is limited, right? Some mods we base on energy shield regen, because as you can see, if you spam Cremation, it's easy to basically lose mana. For this reason, I'm using the non-channeling skills over Lifecraft. I don't have it here, but I have it on my ring and amulet. It lowers a bit, although not really, so I'm not sure if that's really necessary, mostly for Desecrate, but again, I'm not sure if that's really game changer. And yeah, if I cannot. So I will be testing this if that gives us anything because of Petrified Blood, but yeah, I'm trying to manage my mana somehow, because Desecrate takes a lot. So if you need to spam it, if you play like monster speed cannot be reduced and you really need this DPS, you can run out of mana and you're done, because you can't cast your Cremation. If you can't cast Cremation, you cannot leech the spell damage as ES. So that's basically like you're falling like a domino, right? So yeah. Regarding flasks, maybe if I already put, so I'm not sure about this Divine Flask. It works really great, but I'm not sure. Maybe we should have something that does not queue. There are some other options there, because when we run out of flask charges, life flask charges, you're dead. You're just dead. So if you're getting a lot of DPS and your Petrified Blood applies you damage over time, and you spam your flask, you are out of charges, you cannot kill more monsters, then you're gonna die. If you're gonna die, then monsters will keep progressing towards your pump, and you will have much harder time to save your map. This is very, very bad. This is why in previous league I really enjoyed Necromancer Cremation, because it was immortal build. You never were in situation where you die, and you are still killing the monsters at a certain budget, which is not the case here. So if this build dies, well, you're in trouble. So that's why picking up mods is not important for this build, and for now it has limited power in Ravaged maps, unlike the previous build. So I will be still trying to figure out the build. I was talking about Flask. I'm diverting too much. So yeah, the Ruby Flask. So we have increased evasion and increased effect, right? We get max res. That's really important for all you know, for all element flasks, we get 83, 82, 84% of max res because I rolled max lightning res because of lightning coil. So we get 1 extra from helmet. Maybe you can pick something else here. I'm trying to boost my defenses with that. So that's my take. I think it's good synergy with lightning coil. So that's first flag. Second, spell damage leech. That's basically saving us 1 point. Normally we should have spell leech because of the gloves, which give you like 40% more damage when you leech. However, I could not find gloves with that, or empty prefix, so that I can craft it and to cap my resistances. So I'm still looking for my gloves, right? And it's not that easy. So I will be replacing it one day, but yeah, you should have spell damage leech just to, just to keep up with mana. Then we have increased armor, or this could be replaced with increased cast speed if you really hate like the time that cremation takes to cast, or you really want to have more DPS when casting Desecrate, although remember that cast speed is limited to your ES region. So having infinite cast speed won't make your build better, because eventually you run out of mana and you cannot cast it anymore. So that's a bummer. So increased armor doesn't do much for us. We have like 15%. Maybe we could replace Sulfur Flask for Granite Flasks. I don't know, maybe that could give us, but I think we're not dying to physical hits, we're dying to spell hits. We die to chaos damage. I have my chaos res at 67%. It's enough to sustain, but if you have like 40% chaos res, you're gonna die, because the chaos damage is so big in Ravaged maps. Without CI, it's really hard to survive. Maybe, I don't know. On Occultist we cannot go CI. That's pointless. So maybe on Pathfinder, maybe, I don't know, there could be a version where you have CI somehow and energy shield instead of life, but I don't think so because we use life flask, so I'm not sure. CI is out of option for this build, so you need high chaos res. That's mandatory, I'd say. And the last flask, reduced effect of curses. For Pantheon, I have Lunaries because we avoid projectiles, that's huge. We have reduced elemental damage taken, that's huge. And we avoid projectiles that have changed, that's huge, right? So this is for sure best. It's always been best for Ravaged maps. For Minor, I think that Burning Ground is quite strong. However, you just need to, move away. So I don't know. This is good. The Reflect mods. So this is not like killing you instantly, but you're gonna lose life. So if you have LA Reflect, you still deal fire damage. It's not much, but you're gonna lose life. So for LA Reflect, you might switch to this, right? So that's something you can manage, right? If you have LA Reflect, just take this, and that's easy mode, and that's it. We have also restart that. So yeah. So this is also an option, but we could also get this with unique belt to get more charges and better life flasks. There is also Watcher's Eye that gives you, I believe, 50% more life regenerated with life flask if you have Malevolence or Vitality. I can't remember, but make sure to check all the Watcher's Eye mods. I think it was on Vitality. When you have Vitality, you regenerate like more life with your life flask, and this could be better. So this is instant flask. I will be playing with other life flasks to see if that gives us better survivability at this level of defense. And I get that summarizes flasks, right? So the last point to talk, it's quite a long video already, but yeah, it's gonna be the only one this week, I think. So I need to talk about everything at once. So the last thing is 3.25 changes. So yeah, we have a currency market. It's really great now. What's really nice, I'm pretty sure you know that when you want to sell something, you just press Control, left click, it's placed in here. Shame we cannot. Can we do it? No, we cannot. If we could only move it from here or somehow I don't know, make favorites or something. I think favorites would do, right? So you have like, if you had like a stash tab with favorites where you put all the stuff that you trade often, that would be great. But anyway, it's really great. You can set up some offers for night because the oil prices go down at night to a very low levels. So if you have a lot of currency, I don't, but if you have a lot of currency, you can, I don't know, set up, I want 10 silver oils at 20C. I want 10 silver oils at 21C. I want 10 silver oils at 22C, and go, and so on and so on. You have 10 transactions max, but you can put more, you know, quantity at once, right? Also, when you buy oils, you can just try with, okay, I have 24, 25, so let's try one for 26. Wait a few seconds, doesn't work. Try one at 27. No offers there. Try one at 28, and so on and so on. So instead of, oh, it's 131, right? So sure, that's gonna consume the offer instantly, but if you have time and you have free offers, try to hunt for cheaper oils, right? It really works. Also, what I spot is that this ratio is misleading people. So it's really hard when we check the price here. So you can see 27, 28, 29, right? This says 31. So I was able to actually sell my oils at 35 and buying them at 20. So I was making 15 chaos within few minutes during prime time just by flipping oils. And we have a lot of gold. So this is just an example because I was using oils and I was trying to play with the market to see how it works, if it's, you know, if it's really an opportunity for us to make an extra buck, especially early on. So I think the correct strategy for market is one, try to buy oils at night. Just put a lot of chaos orbs against oils at cheap prices. Try to, you know, get them as cheap as you can. Second usage is when you run your maps, when you go to you drop your loot, you take your map, you play your map, you jump up for trade, try to maybe flip something. It's not necessarily oils, maybe do something where you have a lot of stacks, I don't know, but I would avoid divine orbs. So try to find any currency, it can be really literally any currency that's available here. Try to find your market, maybe try to speculate on it, right? So try to scalp some profit. So set up one, so for instance, I want silver oil at 20C, right? But again, then I have silver oil and I want 35C. So you see, you're not punished for setting those two transactions. You're punished with gold, and we have so much gold because I'm not really playing the league. So if you send your workers and you need gold, sure, if you enjoy that, just do that. If you are focused on ravaged maps, you can do this alternatively, right? And I'm pretty sure this will stay. This will stay for our gold. I'm not sure about King's March, right? Because this is League Edition. I think something similar will be, I think this might, let's say this might be POE 2 city. So what they did is they ported back to POE 1, some sort of a city. But I think this is something we can expect in POE 2. Something similar. So instead of like having Lioness Watch, we'll have a city like this in POE 2 where you can do all the stuff. So for now, this is a leak content. I'm not sure what's going standard, but I think the market will go standard because everyone is happy with that. It works great. It still requires a lot of quality of life upgrades, but that's, I think, as an initial version, that's really, really good. And I enjoy it. So yeah, make sure to use your transactions. Try to treat it as a resource that you can use to your advantage. And it's much better at higher volume. Of course, it costs you more gold, but the gold is your only cap, right? So when you trade stocks or I don't know, whatever you trade, CFDs, which you should not do. Kids don't do CFDs or like options and contracts. Just avoid this stuff. But if you buy stocks and you try to, speculate on them, you lose some margin. So imagine that you want to trade 20 silver oils. So your broker will take 1 silver oil from you. So you need to make at least, 22 silver oils from 20 oils to have 1 oil profit, because your broker took 1 oil from you. Here, you don't lose anything for flipping. You lose gold. It's different currency, right? So that's huge opportunity for market flippers. You're not penalized for flipping. I'm not sure. I think the gold is a good way to deal with that, because you cannot just get rich on currency exchange. You need to play the game. You can make some extra money with flipping and speculating, but you cannot become a mirror worth, earn mirror with just flipping, right? So that's just fun. I'd say it's fun. So yeah, to summarize, keep attention to the spreadsheet. I will be trying to upgrade my build. More discussion on Discord, so make sure to join Discord, because I try to answer all the questions there. Sometimes I'm not checking YouTube comments because that's too much. I get private messages. I reply in few channels here. I reply in game to your questions. I need to play the game. So that's quite a lot for me. So I'm not that available for everyone instantly. So make sure to join Discord, watch spreadsheet, and we will see if this build is really a go-to, right? Because maybe I'm gonna find another build, or we're gonna try something else, or 3.26 changes will, invalidate this build or enable us to play something else. So I hope you liked this video. Expect something maybe next week, maybe Sunday. I'm not sure. It's I might be off for a few days. I'm not sure yet. So I'm still figuring out what I'm gonna do for the weekend. So yeah, again, talk to you later, and cheers, bye.